Step into the world of Float, Sizzle, and Chill, where I, Dr. Schreier, take you on a captivating healing voyage each week. Explore state-of-the-art approaches to rejuvenate your body and mind. Our mission is to bring you the finest treatments and therapies for complete healing. Hi, I'm Dr. Schreier here with Float, Sizzle, and Chill, and I'm here with Erin Sykes. Good morning.
Good morning.
And each week on our episodes of Float, Sizzle, and Chill, I'm going to interview experts in their fields about success, their health tips of what they do for their own health routine, and tips for what the audience can and should do at home. So I just want to introduce Erin really quick. Erin Sykes is the Chief Economist for Nest Seekers International, which is a big deal. She's often interviewed by Fox News, CNBC, The Today Show, CNN, NBC Nightly News, The Real Deal, Bloomberg, Mansion Global, Forbes, Bloomberg, TechCrunch, Inc., and Mashable. That was a mouthful. Congratulations. And I just learned recently that you and your partner have sold over $1 billion in real estate between Palm Beach and the Hamptons.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So before we get started with the interview, I just wanted to, we talked a little bit, each episode, if we make it through the challenge of the 20 minutes in the sauna and the 3 minutes in the cold plunge, then I'm going to donate to your charity of choice. So it's going to be $250 today. What charity would you be donating to?
So I think ask me at the end, because there's a few that I have top of mind and I want to make sure that there's some synchronization.
Perfect. All right, okay. So you'll let me know before the end.
Yes.
And then I just want to let you know about this. So this is a shirt for you. This is a new company I started a couple weeks ago called Pay It Back Pizza, and each week I'm going to be updating the audience on the progress. Pay It Back Pizza is a company where we're going to create pizza pop-ups and hire homeless people to run them.
Oh.
And then we're going to get them out of homelessness. So we have a mission. So the update from last week is that I hired our first employee. My daughter's babysitter, Ava, she's in high school.
Amazing.
She needs community service hours, and when she heard about what we were doing, she said, I'm in. And I have some friends at school.
Oh,
so now we have a few employees that are going to help us get started.
Exactly. And your daughter will never be hungry.
My daughter is
babysitting.
Yeah, exactly. She'll always have pizza. So this is for you.
Perfect.
And
then actually that answers your earlier question. I was like, which one would have the most synergy? And I like the Opportunity Zone because they help kids in need, and I think that there'd be a lot with, giving back.
Perfect. Well, that's awesome. So my first question for you is, you're so young, you have hit all these milestones, you're on TV, you've sold $1 billion worth of real estate. How do you become so successful so young, and did you have any habits that got you there?
I appreciate that lovely intro because I feel much younger than I actually am. I'm 41, which is not old, it's not young.
It's pretty young.
But it's right in there in the middle, like
it's
the
pretty young
bulk of your career, right? Like
yeah.
That's like where you're supposed to be making moves and like working hard.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I'm 20 years old sometimes. So I think that the mentality portion is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I was always an athlete growing up. I rode crew through college, and I think that that focus, that ability to focus and kind of work through pain, whether that's physical or emotional or otherwise, I think that is the most important thing to success.
Awesome, to just push through that pain and kind of have a good mentality and a drive, right?
Exactly.
So you still have that 20-year-old drive. I love that. That's awesome. How do you stay so humble? Because I listed a lot of things there, like all those TV stations, $1 billion in real estate. Most people haven't accomplished that. So and I didn't even know any of this about you for months when I've known you for a while, and I didn't even know any of these things until a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
So So like, how do you stay humble?
I think that I always want to achieve more. Like, it's cool. Like, I've done a lot of what I wanted to do in life so far, but like, by no means am I done. So like,
Awesome.
I think it's just that continuous achievement mentality.
Perfect. And that leads into another question that I have next. But do you mind if I share how we met?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm a chiropractor. And Erin came in, what was it, like 6 months ago, or maybe even a year ago?
Yeah, close. I think somewhere in between, 6 months and a year.
6 months and a year. Came in that you wanted to get chiropractic care with this upper cervical specialty that we do, because you had it before and you wanted to continue. But I had no idea who Erin was. She was just, every time she came in, she was very friendly, bubbly. You talked about how you like to play tennis. And that was kind of it for like 6 months to a year until like 2 weeks ago. Like right before I started the podcast, I gave you like a mug with my logo on it because I was giving it out to all our patients just to stay hydrated. Mm-hmm. And you tagged me in it. And I saw, you were playing tennis, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I clicked your profile just out of curiosity, and I see all these like news things, and I'm like, who is this? This is crazy.
Well, I normally come into your office straight from the tennis court too, so it's like I'm sweaty and whatever.
But it's cool because you would never know, like just talking to you, if you didn't say anything, you don't have like a big ego or anything like that, which is cool because sometimes people do. Sometimes, and I've met a lot of people that are super successful that stay humble too. So it's really cool to see. Do you ever have moments when you're not feeling like cheerful and excited and everything?
Sure.
Because when I've always seen you, it always seems like you're like on and like happy. So like, does that happen? And how do you get out of that like mental funk?
Yeah, well, I think part of it is one of the primary reasons I started to come see you is because I get migraines, and I certainly do not feel cheerful when I'm like mid-migraine cycle. Yeah. But at the same time, like I'm really trying to get to the root of the problem and like kind of circle back. I think that they originated from rowing for the bulk of my life. 90% of the time I was pulling on starboard, which is like a right-handed pull. So my right quad, my right arm, my right shoulder, my right lat, like everything is a bit stronger on that side.
Right.
There's some imbalance to my spine, and after doing that for so long, like it just pulled me out of alignment, lots of pressure on the nerves, etc. So
and then chiropractic.
And then you help fix that. So that's when I don't feel great, but then I come see you and it's all better.
Awesome, I love that. So you had mentioned before you're not close to even being done yet, even though you've accomplished all these amazing things. So like some people at home might think like, oh, this woman is like super successful, like she has it made, she can just kind of like coast the rest of her life, right? Like
I wish.
So what goals and aspirations do you have next?
I want to, of course, like there's just a core success component, like what makes me feel happy, and then there's also like the public facing, like what makes other people think that I have reached the level of success that I want. Yeah. But like those are not necessarily aligned. So like despite no matter how many like shows I do, like I think that just gives me a taste for the next thing. So like I would love to have my own show. I would love to like direct my content rather than being just like the recipient of the questions. Like I want to be on the other side. So I think that that's a goal for me.
Cool.
And then also like that's that natural evolution within the journalism field. And then within real estate, I get paid. So I just want to continue to sell stuff. So
that's awesome. And it seems like you're pretty good at the selling part. And I started this thing recently and I think it has potential, but I talked to you about it, how to start your thing if you want to chat about it.
Exactly.
So I think we talked a little bit about this, but people at home might think like you've already like made it. And the truth is that there's no such a thing as like coasting ever, right? Like if you're not growing, what happens?
You die. Like
that's what I have. That's what I have written down here. So if you're not growing, you're dying. And people might think like, oh, if I just hit this next like goal, or if I just have this like amount of money in my bank account, I'm set and I can just coast. And I think like a lot of people think like that. I thought like that till I reached my goal, and then I wasn't happy because I didn't have another goal set up.
Exactly.
So I learned pretty quickly that I need, you need to keep growing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that I think is the ultimate happiness is growing, and then also, once you reach that success is how do you give back? Because you can only have so much things for yourself. So how do you give back to the community or the world? And that's.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that there's money that I do think that it doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you comfort, and it buys you the time and the affordability to do those things that you also really love doing, and giving back is one of them. So I have never shied away from saying, look, I want financial success because that breeds freedom. Freedom
is the ultimate goal, right? It's not about what you can buy, it's the time, because time is the ultimate wealth, right? You can't buy time.
Exactly.
So that's pretty cool. Let's see. And you're pretty into tennis, right?
Yeah.
What got you into it, and how long have you been playing?
Not that long. So I grew up in New Jersey. I lived in New York City for better part of 20 years, and then I came down to Florida in 2019. And when you come down to Florida, you need to do a Florida sport. You need to play golf or you need to play tennis. Otherwise, it's harder to socialize. I don't have kids, so it's not like I'm meeting friends at pick up a drop off or their sports or anything. So I was all right, what do? I tried golf because my mom's really good at golf, and I was first of all, I don't have 5 hours in a day, and I don't really love it. I can do the driver pretty decent, but when it gets to putting, my attention span's not that great. So I'm all right, pick up next.
Golf is one of those games you have to play every day or every week to even be okay. If you play for a while and then stop for a month, it all goes bad again. So it's it's tougher. But also I like golf, but I also like tennis a bit more because it's you can pick it up really quick, and then you're learning from the people you're playing with, and so you're getting better because you're playing with them. Golf is kind of you're playing against yourself.
Exactly, and I think that the aerobic benefit of tennis, it allowed me, in 1 hour, I burn the calories, I get the mental workout, I socialize, it's a little bit more all-inclusive for me.
Yeah, that's great. We're doing an extra hard challenge today because we both forgot our waters.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't even know how long it is. I don't know. What do you think? 10 minutes it's been? 15?
I guess so.
I don't know. They'll let us know when it's 20.
I have the sweat on my chin now, so I know that's happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sweaty. So I wanted to talk about this sauna retreat you went on. You said you went to Mexico, and one of the excursions was doing a sauna retreat, and that sounded pretty interesting. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was in Tulum, and this is a solid 10 years ago, but I'm sure they still do it because there's this old Mayan ritual. It's called the Temescal, and it's the Mayan or the Aztec sweat lodge.
Right.
And I was in there. We just signed up. My friend and I signed up for it. Once we got to Tulum.
Right.
And turns out that Hillary Rhoda and Sean Avery were also in our sweat lodge of I don't know, 8 to 10 people.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours long of saunaing. And
so 2 hours of this?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. So,
That's intense.
mental challenge. I was all right, here we go, professional NHL player. I am going to stay in as long as this guy does.
Yeah.
And, we were both able to finish the whole thing. So I was happy.
Cool. That's awesome. So that was a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'd do it again. But it was rough.
It was tough. Is it harder than this?
I mean, it's like this for a really, really long time.
But the good news is you're not trapped in here if you're too hot. We can leave, but it's not too much longer that we have. Have you ever heard, people know they feel better after doing the sauna. Have you ever read or heard, what the research says about sauna treatments?
Some. I mean, I'd love to hear more from an expert like yourself. But, I'm big on, maintaining, a low inflammatory environment for my body.
Okay.
And I know that, sauna particularly followed by cold plunge, it helps, get those mitochondria going and clean out your body.
Yeah, totally. So that's the core principle, is that it lowers inflammation and pain, but it does that by actually pushing yourself outside your comfort level of what you think you can do. So when you stay in your comfort level, you don't grow, but when you push outside what you think you can do, That actually changes your brain chemistry, so it releases endorphins. It actually has really good benefits for your heart. So without exercising, without changing your diet, if you just did sauna, there's research that shows that 20 minutes of the sauna at 170 degrees, which is what we're doing, leads to lower heart attacks and lower strokes.
Love that.
So that on top of the mental benefits is huge, and I think everybody at home should be, doing that, whether you go to like there's a lot of places popping up that do cryo and sauna, and if there's franchises popping up a lot across the country, that you can do this really affordably for like, I don't know, $50, $100 a month. Unlimited programs, $100, $200 a month. For some people that want to do it every day, they can get something like this at home, which we're going to start partnering with some sauna and cold plunge companies, so we can get people discounts and things like that. And then we're also doing the flotation, so it's float, sizzle, and chill.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't float today because the flotation tank is actually arriving today in my house.
Sweet. Okay.
So in the next couple of weeks, we'll start doing that, and we'll have to have you back to try it out.
Yeah,
Have you ever
love
tried
that.
flotation therapy?
At your office, I did the dry float, and I
Okay.
have done like the pods with the salt
It's
water.
the pod, that's what it is.
I love the pod. I love the dry, especially when you don't have time to blow dry your hair.
Yeah, perfect.
So I think that they both have a place.
Awesome, yeah, and they're a little bit different. They're very similar. We're just creating like a weightless feeling and no lights or sound, so it kind of shuts down the mind, kind of resets your brain patterns, so it helps with stress, anxiety, but it also helps with increasing creativity and productivity and sleep. So a lot of big things.
Great.
Doing a little research, I saw that you once got trapped in a plane.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how long, it didn't say, but what was that like?
Yeah, so it's funny, I had done, this is a little bit long-winded, but I had done a bunch of like hosting and journalism trainings through NYU and a couple of different independent places out in LA and New York and stuff, and I always wanted to do the TV commentator thing, but it, for whatever reason, like I wasn't focused on it until I took this flight. I'd done a surf camp in Bali, and I was flying back through Dubai on an Emirates flight, and that's one of those big planes. It's double-decker. Actually, our neighbor here in Florida, Vanilla Ice, was also on the plane. He was first class upstairs. I was, in the chicken coop downstairs, just coach.
Okay.
And it's a 13-hour flight, so
God.
to begin with, it's kind of like, oh. But I was getting on the plane, and I was like, people feel really sick to me. Like, I'm not understanding what's going on. And it was way before COVID, way before people talked about masks or anything like that. And I asked the flight attendant, I was like, do you have anything? Basically she said, no, you can wrap your jacket around your head. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I sat there 13 hours with my jacket wrapped around my head. Meanwhile, every toilet on the plane overflowed.
Oh my God.
So this is a double-decker plane with no toilets for 13 hours.
And people were sick.
People were very sick. They were coming from a pilgrimage, and they were very sick coming home. They were exhausted. Their bodies were tired. So then we landed, and the FBI met us at JFK. They thought it was bioterrorism. Obviously, it was not. People were just sick.
Right.
But so the FBI came on the plane. We were kind of stuck. I sent out a tweet about what was happening, and I got picked up by NBC. So then I ended up doing CNN and Lester Holt's program at NBC and a handful of others, and then that was immediately upon landing. There's like interviews out there where I'm just like, like this basically after a 13-hour flight on national TV. So that was interesting.
Was that the catalyst?
Yes. So I was already doing QVC. I was already selling on QVC overnights, and then I was working as a consultant. This is before my real estate career during the day. And so I did QVC that night. Had stayed up for like 24 hours at least in a row, and then I was able to parlay those series of interviews into a retail commentator role with the brands, the networks that you had mentioned earlier, kind of combine it with the QVC. Then, 6-7 years later, when I switched careers into real estate, I switched it into a retail commentary, or a real estate commentary role.
That's amazing.
So, sometimes it's just luck. You can plan as much as you want, but there's some luck in there.
I think there's some luck, but also you have to recognize the opportunities.
Correct.
Because a lot of people would look at a crisis like that and maybe not get on TV. Maybe they would just like be mad that they had to be on the plane for so long, or that there were sick people, and just get pissed off and not do an interview. So you took like a crisis and pain and turned it into an opportunity, and that led down this path where you're at now to here.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Funny how things connect the dots in retrospect.
Yeah, I don't even think it's like, I don't think it's coincidence. I think it's like that was supposed to happen, and
Agreed.
you just took the opportunity.
Agreed.
So we're gonna finish the rest of the interview in the cold plunge, because we made
That's
it.
the harder part for me.
We made it the whole 20 minutes.
Perfect.
Hi, this is Dr. Schreier again with Float, Sizzle, and Chill, and I'm here with Erin Sykes. We just finished the sauna challenge. Now we're doing the cold plunge challenge for 3 minutes. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, hop in.
All right. Everyone says to do this part quick,
Go
so
quick.
I'm going to try to go quick.
All right.
All right.
So Erin, just take a couple deep breaths.
Ooh, okay. All right. We're good.
Yeah, good.
We're good.
A couple deep breaths.
I'm just floating away here. All right. I'm going to go on an angle. This is very...
Perfect. So I see from your social media, you travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite place you've ever been?
So my favorite place is Montana.
Okay.
I went for the first time with my mom last year, and it's a place called Lone Mountain Ranch, and I just cannot speak highly enough about this ranch, because you get your own like little pod. It's near Big Sky, and it's over like 150-year-old ranch.
Wow.
And they deliver your coffee in a hot thermos every morning at 6 a.m. And then, that you get a chauffeur, you do a sleigh ride to a dinner.
A sleigh ride in the snow?
Justin Timberlake was at the restaurant that is on site, so that was
I'm in.
Huge.
All right, sign me up. How do we get it?
Exactly.
How do we make a reservation?
So Lone Mountain Ranch,
Okay.
I almost hesitate to mention it because I don't want the prices to go too high, because I want to go back.
Is it a little pricey?
It's a little pricey, but you can get deals.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll keep a lookout for deals, but let's not like overrun it.
Exactly.
So we want to, let's keep it a secret a little bit. That's really cool. So is it more nature, or is it more like, what is
it's a
it
cross-country ski resort,
Okay.
so but it's 15 minutes from Big Sky, and I love to snowboard. So
nice.
basically I go there. I'm trying to stay close to the
like-
mic
you're
while
like-
not floating away.
Yeah, you're floating for some reason.
I guess I'm buoyant.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So how many hours of research do you do a week for your, when you do newscasting?
It's hard, it's like a constant thing. I always have, the news on in the background. I read different sources every day. I'm pulling data directly from multiple MLS, and it's kind of an amalgamation of all of those things. And, I think that starting from the root rather than just taking what you hear on the news, but like really pulling the data in each market, because the thing about real estate, it's really local. And here, as much as people love being in Florida, and we've had such a migration down here, our prices have actually pulled back about 15% from their peaks.
Got it.
Meanwhile, in other areas of the country, they're still seeing peak prices. So it's things like that like you really have to be familiar with each local market, which is
Interesting.
where I try to set myself apart, rather than just commenting on the national indexes.
That's really cool. But like with that pullback in Florida, like in South Florida, I guess, things were so high, like from when COVID started, it's probably like 50 or 100%. So like 15% backwards is like, yes, it went back, but like, so what? You probably have like hundreds of thousands of extra dollars in equity in your
Please
house.
tell everybody that, because it's a constant struggle. It's
Right,
okay, you went up 100% over the course of 2 years.
Right.
Pulling back 15%.
Yeah, don't freak out. Yeah, like you're still in a good place.
Exactly.
How do you attract positivity and success in your life?
You get back what you put out, and there's a karmic loop. So I think as long as you maintain your positivity, and nobody's perfect. Look, I certainly have my sad moments or my angry moments or whatever, but you have to just learn to channel that to then bring something positive about it. And you appreciate greatness or happy moments in your life more because you've had challenges.
Yeah, totally. It's like seasons. Like you can't always be in the summer where like everything's exciting.
Exactly.
Because then you're never.
Although we
don't
are
have
here in
anything-
Florida.
Yeah, it is kind of like summer, but you have to have some downs so that you appreciate the ups. right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then putting out to the universe, you get it back. And I never really even like believed that. I mean, I tried to believe it, but I didn't really believe it until recently. And now it's like everything's connected, and just whatever you put out comes back. It's
Agreed.
Totally true. What's one person that we should have on Float, Sizzle, and Chill in the future, and how are we going to make that happen?
Oh boy. I would love to get, well, this is the hardest question so far. I'm like,
Save the best for last.
yes, let's see. There are people, like, I would love to see my CEO do this, because it's like such a, and I don't know, you look up to him and you want to see like how he is in the face
How
of
they
adversity.
react. Right.
So I think that would be cool.
It's kind of like uncomfortable, like instead of like an interview on TV where you have to be very serious, this is kind of like
yeah, you see the opposite
you're
of
yourself,
somebody.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got to,
All right.
I don't know.
What's their name?
Blanking.
What's their name?
Eddie Shapiro, but he's based in the Hamptons, so maybe next time he comes to the Florida
does he ever
market.
vacation to Florida?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we can
right.
probably get him to do
Eddie,
it.
you're next. So you can get
All
out.
right,
You
I'm
made it
done.
3 minutes.
Sweet.
And so if you want to get out,
All
I'm gonna hop in because it's super hot. And if you want to ask me anything,
Oh boy.
then we can do that.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay. You didn't tell me to go under. Is that a tip?
Next time you should try to keep your shoulders and your arms under.
Okay, next time. All right. So my question, I guess, how did you get into chiropractic?
Ooh, that's actually a good story. So I used to have migraines as a teenager, like you had, and my mom brought me to a couple doctors. I got an MRI, nothing showed up. Tried some medications. I remember sometimes being in I had to go in a dark room and hum myself to sleep because that was the only thing that would it wouldn't go away until I went to sleep. And this happened pretty often until a family friend suggested that I try their chiropractor, and my mom was like, well, I guess we have nothing to lose. We already tried everything else. Within a few weeks to a month, my migraines disappeared and they've never been back.
No kidding.
Yeah. So,
what an inspiration.
yeah. So that I knew back then I wanted to be a chiropractor. On top of it helping with my migraines, I was like, oh, you get to use your hands. You're kind of it's kind of like an art. And I was like, and you get to make your own schedule. You're your own boss. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's how I became a chiropractor.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I think everybody that has migraines, we kind of have this community. Ideally, we're all working towards completely getting rid of them, like you. But yeah, I think that you only understand the pain when you get them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's one thing that gets people better, like chiropractic, and sometimes it's a combination of things, and you just have to kind of navigate and figure out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited when somebody gets all the way better with chiropractic, but if somebody needs some sort of medication combined with chiropractic, I'm into that, whatever's best for the patient.
Exactly. And I know you're doing the Tony Robbins thing right now.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago I did another seminar that kind of, after that seminar I did this 2-hour long flotation session, and after that on the plane ride home was where I came up with the idea for the podcast and the idea for the pizza pop-up with the homeless people.
Amazing.
It was so weird. And then there's 3 or 4 other ideas that came out of that plane ride that I wrote down that are gonna happen. I don't want to name them all because it'll just sound like too much stuff.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff down the pipeline, and it's all connected to the pay it back thing. So, yeah, that plane ride was very interesting, which I'll talk about another time. Actually, the person that was next to me is going to be a guest on one of the podcasts.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a naturopathic doctor that used to want to be a chiropractor.
Okay.
And it was a weird coincidence.
Yeah. Huh. So I'm super interested in general functional medicine and everything. And what do you see, like, what are some of the things either you're going to offer in your office or like that we should be reading about?
Yeah. So if somebody's in pain, then their main focus should be getting out of pain. But if somebody's not in pain, then like our whole society, there's a shift happening where people that are healthy want to be like optimally healthy.
Yes.
Like if your hormones are off, which you can just do a simple blood test, you can improve your hormones and get them like level. Your vitamins, like you can measure your vitamins, like every vitamin. If they're off, you can get like IV supplements, like super easy. When you take supplements orally, you don't absorb all of the nutrients. When you do it through an IV, it's like 90% are absorbed.
Oh my gosh. So just side note, my favorite new supplement is beef organs.
Beef organ.
Yes.
It makes sense. There's a lot of nutrients in like organs.
Yeah.
But so those are some things we're doing in the office that we're starting right now is the hormone replacement, IVs, and then what else? There's a lot of things I'm researching right now because now that I'm open to other types of treatments, which we're combining with like medical doctors and nurse practitioners. It's not chiropractors doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my office, but we're like integrated as a team. And so that's where I think healthcare is going.
Agreed.
Is that we're all working together for the same goal of optimizing people's health. Oh, the HRT, the IV, but the last key is I think that like everybody should be doing flotation therapy, sauna, and cold plunge. Like if everybody did those 3 things alone, whether you go somewhere or you get one for your house, like that would be game changing.
Yeah, imagine how much, just like higher the baseline level of health people would have if they were just doing like stuff for themselves like that before they go to medicine, unless they really need it.
Obesity, if people that are overweight did floating, sauna, and cold plunge, that would get rid of like a lot of obesity, because not only that, but once you start doing these things, you get motivated to start eating healthy and exercising.
Correct.
Like people get discouraged because they don't want to work out, but these things are passive. You don't have to do anything. And like, I'm shivering, but after the first couple minutes, it's getting easier to be in
true.
here.
It was tough the first minute. It was like, whoa.
I told you, right?
And then my body, those endorphins kicked in. And, like, I don't know. It works, and I feel cleansed, and you're about to feel totally cleansed.
Yes, you feel like total clarity.
Yeah.
And then your body feels good.
Exactly.
So, I think I'm
I'll let
done.
you out.
Yeah, thank you. Whew. Here?
Okay. Good job.
All right. Oh. All right, this is Dr. Schreier, and this has been our 3rd episode of Float, Sizzle, and Chill.
Yeah.
We appreciate you floating, sizzling, and chilling with us today on this episode. To stay connected, consider showing your support by following, sharing, and awarding us a sizzling 5-star review on platforms like Apple or Spotify. Remember, you can participate in our weekly raffle by submitting a review to Apple or Spotify and leaving a comment on the current YouTube episode. Check the episode description for instructions. You can reach us at www.dralon.com, DRELAN. Drop an email at info@dralon.com. Stay happy, healthy, and abundant.